Hello and welcome to Tome of Uselessness. I'm Dan, solo casting, and today I'm going to be discussing the 1993 animated movie Batman: Mask of the Phantasm. This movie arose from the Batman animated series that was running at the time, and for me, this is one of my favorite versions of Batman. I used to watch the show every morning when I was getting ready for school. It's great. The animated series created and altered the Batman universe in creative ways. Such as the creation of Harley Quinn, changes to Mr. Freeze, and definitely a lot more. The stories of the show are interesting, varied, and well worth watching. But I'm not here to discuss the show. We're talking about the movie here. And I gotta say, I was ignorant about a major influence of this movie. While I was prepping and thinking about what to say about the movie, I thought about how this is the animated series version of the Year One comic book series, or it's Batman Begins. Then, while I was researching the movie, I discovered it was based on the Year One graphic novels. Some more on that later. But first, a synopsis of the story here. While Batman is busting up some mobsters, another mysterious figure appears and causes the death of the mob leader, and the blame is placed on Batman. We are then shown multiple storylines of Bruce when he's younger, starting his journey as a crime fighter, but at the same time, he becomes romantically involved with a woman, and he tries to reconcile the two different directions his life is taking. While in the present, Batman investigates this killer vigilante, while more mobsters are killed and Batman is blamed for their deaths, which leads to a clash with the Gotham law enforcement and the killer. So before I go any further, I'm going to talk spoilers stuff, and if you haven't seen the movie and my brief synopsis has gotten you kind of interested in it, I would highly recommend stopping this episode, watch the movie, and come on back for the rest of my discussion here. So I feel that this movie has a few great reveals that we learn as Batman does, which serves to draw you into the story so much more. The reveal that the Joker was once part of the gang being targeted by the Phantasm is a great wrinkle, as Batman realizes that a clash between the two will cause collateral damage and end terribly. When Andrea returns the engagement ring, and this solidifies Bruce's choice to become a vigilante, it changes the choice from one of triumph to another tragedy in his life, as he curses himself to endlessly battle the darkness of the city. The music, visuals, and Alfred's reaction when he first puts on the cape and cowl make this a powerful moment. I've also always really enjoyed the scene with the counselor Reeves after he has been dosed by the Joker toxin, and he's just laughing in the face of Batman while he's revealing his betrayal. It's a really interesting way that they reveal this to you, because this guy is just madly laughing and can't stop. And while building to the climax of the movie, we are shown that Batman is misled about the final piece of the puzzle, and it is Andrea who is the Phantasm, not her father. This further hammers home the tragedy of the story, because we know Batman will stand in her way. The final sequence with the Joker, Phantasm, and Batman in the world of the future is really well executed. Not only is the physical fighting great, but the added tricks and traps of the location really elevate the sequence. The moral and philosophical clash between Batman and the Phantasm brings the whole story together and shows Bruce a version of himself that he could have easily become. When he asks Andrea, "What will vengeance solve?" and she answers with, "If anyone knows the answer to that, it's you." So I won't spend more time really talking about every sequence in detail. I'll just say the movie is great, well worth watching. The story, characters, voice work, animation, score, and the structure really make it enjoyable to watch. So let's move on to some behind-the-scenes facts. So the movie was directed by Eric Radomski, Bruce Timm, and written by Alan Burnett. Bob Kane, of course, creator of Batman. Aiding Alan Burnett in writing the script were Martin Pascoe, who handled most of the flashback segments, Michael Reeves, who wrote the climax, and Paul Dini, who claims he filled in the holes here and there. The movie was released on December 25th, 1993, and had a budget of $6 million, but only had a worldwide gross of $5.6 million. Unfortunately, I think this movie was just released during a time when animated features were still viewed as only for kids, despite the inroads made by anime at the time. Even now, many people still hold that attitude, but of course, I feel like a younger generation that's grown up with anime and cartoons, and now with the adult animation that we have now, those attitudes are kind of changing. Although the movie must have done well in the secondary market because DC continues to release animated features as direct-to-video. But they were not given, wide theatrical releases. I know recently The Killing Joke had a limited theatrical run, but not a wide theatrical release like this movie received. So let's talk about the voice cast. We got Kevin Conroy back as Batman, Dana Delany as Andrea Beaumont, who comes back to work on other DC features in the future. Hart Bochner as Arthur Reeves, Stacy Keach as the Phantasm / Carl Beaumont, Abe Vigoda as Salvatore Valestra, Dick Miller as Chucky Saul, John P. Ryan as Buzz Bronski, Ephraim Zimbalist Jr. as Alfred, Bob Hastings as Commissioner Gordon, who I think has 2 scenes in the movie, Robert Costanzo as Detective Bullock, who I think has 2 lines maybe in the movie, and of course Mark Hamill in the iconic Joker role. So late in production, Warner Brothers decided to make this movie a theatrical release instead of the originally intended direct-to-video feature. While the animators were thrilled at this decision, this left them with less than a year of production time and scrambling to convert the aspect ratio to widescreen. So most of the movie is based on the graphic novels Batman Year 1 and Batman Year 2. The flashback to Batman's first night of crime fighting, donning a jacket and ski mask, is paralleled to Book 1 of Year 1, and visually used again recently in Batman Begins. The design and concept of the Phantasm was derived from the Reaper, the primary villain of Year 2. Paul Dini intended each of the flashbacks into Batman's love life to have a tendency to get worse when you hope things will get better. Andrea Beaumont is based loosely on a combination of Judson Caspian, the Reaper, and his daughter, Rachel Caspian, characters from Batman Year 2. Bruce Timm went through approximately 20 different character designs for the Phantasm before creating the version that resembles the Grim Reaper with Azrael's mask. The large blade on the right hand was not part of Timm's original design, and was added later at Alan Burnett's insistence. He was told he looks like the Ghost of Christmas Future, which they use as a line for the Joker in the movie. One scene depicts Bruce Wayne at his parents' tombstone saying, "I didn't count on being happy." According to writer Michael Reeves, the scene was a pivotal moment in Bruce's tragic life, as he denies himself the opportunity to live a normal life when he later dons the cape and cowl. The writers were highly cautious of placing the Joker in the film, as they did not want any connection to Batman '89. But writer Michael Reeves said, "We then realized we could make his appearance serve the story in a way that we could never do in live action." Alan Burnett's intention was to tell a story removed from the television show's regular rogues gallery. Burnett also cited that he wanted to do a love story with Bruce because no one was really done that on the TV show. "I wanted to just do a story that got into his head." The animated series episode Trial was supposed to be the plot of this film. Producers thought it worked better as a standard half-hour episode. I think hindsight shows that Trial should have at least been a 2-parter and could have been easily into a movie. The plot of that episode is how a district attorney who loathes Batman is forced to defend him in a twisted parody of a trial run by the inmates of Arkham Asylum who have seized control of the asylum and taken them both prisoner. So that was a look back. I hope you really enjoyed this look at Batman Mask of the Phantasm from 1993. If I haven't really made it clear, check out both this movie and the animated show for a great version of Batman on screen. You can find more episodes on our website, tomeofuselessness.com, as well as links to our social media, our Twitter and our Instagram. You can also find episodes of our show on iTunes and Spotify, wherever else you get your podcasts. You can reach us through email at tomeofuselessness@gmail.com. If you have any questions, comments, topic suggestions, get a hold of us. Thank you so much for listening. Have a good one.